Hi, welcome to Heather's Home Kitchen. I'm registered dietitian Heather Klug with the Karen Yontz Women's Cardiac Awareness Center. Today I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite recipes that I love to make for lunch and to take to work. It's called cranberry spinach salad, and you can find this recipe on the Karen Yontz Center website, which is karenyontzcenter.org. The great thing about this recipe is you can make a couple of the things in it ahead of time, and that makes prepping and taking to work much easier. So one of the things you can do in advance is to toast the nuts a little bit, and I have those started on the stove already. You can use a dry toasting method, or you can do it in a little bit of oil. I've done it both ways. I did opt to do it in the oil, just like it's done in the recipe. You just need to put a teaspoon of canola oil, or you could use grapeseed oil. You'd want to use an oil that's kind of neutral sort of tasting, and heat up the pan, and then add your nuts and swirl them around a little bit. This is going to take about 4 minutes for them to toast, roughly like 3 to 5 minutes. I have slivered almonds in here because that's what's in the recipe, but you could use a different nut if you'd like. Now, if you're going to make a large amount of this, like let's say you wanted to take this salad to, a big event and you're making a lot of it, I'd recommend you probably roast them in the oven. You can do that at 350 degrees. Make sure you use like a rimmed baking sheet, and partway through, after about 5 minutes or so, you'd want to open the oven and kind of shake it around a little bit so you don't have the nuts burning. So in this method, you're going to leave them in the pan, and once you can start to smell them toasting a little bit, that's when you want to, I use a wooden spoon, you want to just kind of saute them in there and move them around so they're not burning. So we're getting pretty close to when these are done, and then I'll show you what to do next. But the reason we're toasting the nuts is because it's gonna bring out the essential oils that are in there, and it's gonna bring them to the surface. So it's gonna take your nuts from good to amazing, okay? It's just gonna add a lot more flavor, and the nuts will be a little bit crispier for your salad. So we're pretty much almost done here. I don't want them to burn in the pan. You just want them to have kind of a nice brown sort of color. And the important thing here is that certainly you turn off the heat, but then you cannot leave them in the pan, okay? We have to take them out and we have to put them in something, or they will continue cooking in here and then they will burn and they won't taste good. So what I like to do is take a plate, and I line it with some paper towels on here, and then I put the nuts on there, and then I sometimes take another paper towel and I kind of blot the oil off of there. So you'd want to do this ahead of time so it allows, some time for the nuts to cool a little bit. All right, so now we're going to move over here, and I have the nuts already toasted so you can see what they look like on there. Look, they're nice and toasty colored. All right, the other thing to do in advance is to make the dressing. So this is a really easy dressing. I usually double or sometimes triple the dressing, just so I always have it in the refrigerator, and then I can just put it in smaller containers to bring to work. So with this, we're gonna have some sugar. I have a little less than a 1/4 cup of sugar in here. So I'm gonna pour that into my shaker. And then I did measure some of the spices ahead of time, or what I'm going to add to it to give it a little more flavor. So we do have a little bit of chopped onions, or you might see it called minced onions in a jar, a little paprika, some sesame seeds, and some poppy seeds. So I'm going to add all of those in there, and you can adjust the amounts based on your preference that you like in there too. All right, and then the next step is to add some vinegar. So for most oil and vinegar dressings, you're doing about an equal amount of the vinegar and the oil. So I'm doing about a 1/4 cup. I've already measured this out, but it's some white wine vinegar and some apple cider vinegar. So we're gonna add that in there. All right, and then the last step is just to add the oil. And again, we're gonna use some canola oil. You can use different oil if you want, like grapeseed oil would be good for this too, but you do want something kind of neutral tasting. When I haven't had those oils on hand, I have made it with extra virgin olive oil. It does give it definitely a different flavor. And if you keep it in the refrigerator, the olive oil is going to solidify, so you'd have to keep it out for a little bit so it's kind of pourable. So that's it with the dressing. So then I'm just going to add on the cap here. and we'll shake it up. Now, if you don't have one of these shakers at home, you can certainly just use a glass jar as well. That'll work just as well. So we're gonna shake it all up in there. And now the fun part, I get to assemble the dressing. So I'm gonna sprinkle on some of the almonds. I'm not gonna use all of them because this is enough for like 2 or 3 people. So we're just gonna sprinkle those on. And then now in this recipe, it usually calls for using cranberries, like dried cranberries. But since strawberries are in season, I thought, hey, it'd be kind of nice to put those on here, kind of switch it up a little bit, right? So I just sliced up some strawberries. You can cut them up however you want, and we're gonna add those to the salad. Looks really pretty, doesn't it? Gives it some nice color in there. All right. Okay, so we got that on, and then we're just gonna add the dressing. Now, if you're making this for a large event, keep in mind you don't wanna add the dressing until you're about ready to serve it, right? Otherwise, everything's gonna get really soggy. But I'm gonna be eating this for lunch after this video, so I'm going to put the dressing on here now. So I'm just gonna drizzle that on there a little bit. And voila, a wonderful, tasty kind of salad. So this is the cranberry spinach salad or strawberry spinach salad. I hope you enjoy that. So again, you can find this recipe on the KarenJahnCenter.org site along with lots of other heart healthy recipes. Thanks for watching. Bye.